Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the 1,000 sample trap, process audit versus process-wise audit. Listen, we're tearing into a massive governance failure that's hiding in plain sight. It's a high-stakes scenario that happens way too often in our industry. So if you're a chief audit executive, an audit partner, or a CFO, you're gonna wanna listen closely. We are putting a deeply flawed industry practice on trial right here, right now.
Okay, let's dive into this. What if I told you that demanding a 1,000 invoice review from your audit team doesn't actually reduce your risk? No way. In fact, it does the exact opposite. It gives you this total illusion of safety while completely blinding your organization to true systemic risk. It's this fatal assumption that volume equals visibility, and that sets the stage for the conflict we're analyzing today. So here's the inciting incident. An audit plan for the procure-to-pay cycle gets approved, and it's outsourced to a highly capable consulting firm. The team arrives on site and does exactly what experts should do, right? They request access to perform a deep process walkthrough. But then, in a totally stunning move, the CAE intervenes and forcefully blocks them from doing it. The CAE steps in and aggressively says, there's no time for walkthroughs. Just send an initial data request and start the audit immediately. I mean, imagine the absolute absurdity of this. An expert team ready to map out controls is told to just skip the foundational step of understanding the environment. Under intense top-down pressure, the team basically caves. The walkthrough never happens. Instead, they just float this blind, generic data request out there. And well, because of that generic request, total chaos ensues. We're talking 20,000 purchase orders and invoices blindly flooding in. The audit team is just buried in raw data. And because they were denied the ability to map the process first, they are forced to review these documents completely blind. They're desperately trying to reverse engineer isolated transactional errors into systemic process gaps. It is literally a wildly inefficient nightmare. Then comes the dipstick status check. The CAA takes a look at the data request, and he is absolutely furious. Out of the 20,000 purchase orders that flooded in, the audit team has only selected a highly focused sample of 40 orders for testing. To a CAE who's absolutely obsessed with volume, this looks like the team is barely even scratching the surface. This brings us to an explosive turning point. The CAE demands 40 samples out of 20,000 is unacceptable. Increase the sample to 1,000 or more. He's demanding a massive brute force transactional review, basically bulk checking. This completely halts the audit's momentum dead in its tracks, setting up a fierce confrontation over sheer volume versus modern audit principles. But the audit partner pushes back hard. He asserts that a modern audit absolutely cannot depend on sheer transactional volume. And he points out the mathematical reality here. In a company with, let's say, 100,000 direct purchase invoices, absolutely no amount of sampling is going to guarantee absolute compliance. Testing 1,000 invoices out of 100,000 still leaves 99% of your universe entirely unchecked. And this brilliantly illustrates the partner's most devastating point. Reviewing 1,000 invoices fails because the real fraud happens completely outside the digital accounting system. Vendor collusion, shady off-book negotiations, skipped physical quality checks, none of these are captured in ERP data. The evidence exists completely outside the system. Staring at digitized invoices all day long will literally never catch them. This exposes the dangerous trap of the process-wise audit. It's essentially a massive, clerical checking exercise masquerading as an actual audit, relying entirely on brute force transactional reviews. And you want to know the truly frustrating part? This CAE genuinely and mistakenly believes that bulk reviewing thousands of invoices is what constitutes a modern audit. It's a fatal misunderstanding of risk management. Contrast that with a true process audit. The correct, risk-based way to evaluate risk is to perform a deep walkthrough first. Identify specific controls, map the gaps, and then use transactions to substantiate if those structural controls are actually functioning. In this risk-based approach, a small sample size of 40 isn't lazy, it's actually perfectly designed just to test whether the control environment itself is functioning. So, the crucial point is this core theoretical misunderstanding at the absolute center of this fierce boardroom deadlock. On one side, the process-wise audit tries to catch errors through sheer, exhausting volume. On the other side, the process audit focuses purely on structural controls. Look, it's simple. You don't need 1,000 samples to know if a door has a lock on it, you just need to check the lock. And that leaves us right here, in a frozen, tense boardroom deadlock. The audit partner is flat out refusing to turn his highly skilled risk auditors into glorified data entry clerks just to hit some arbitrary number. And on the other side, the CAE fiercely refuses to back down from his 1,000 sample demand, completely convinced the partner is just avoiding hard work. The audit is completely stalled.
Now, if you're a governance professional who wants to stop this transactional madness and build a true risk-based framework, there are actual solutions. Keep an eye out for the upcoming book, An Entrepreneur's Guide to Corporate Governance, Risk Management. It is the ultimate guide to getting this right. And hey, if you need a comprehensive expert study of your own internal audit framework, reach out directly at connect@riskvigilantbharat.com. But right now, that boardroom is still deadlocked. The CAE demands volume, the partner demands a risk-based focus. So I'm turning this directly over to you. Who is right? Is the CAE justified, or is the partner defending the correct methodology? Look at your own organization. What do you actually follow? Process audits or process-wise audits? Get down in the comments and let's debate this. Stay vigilant.